What is up, guys? It's Andy Frisella, and this is the show for the realists. Say goodbye to the lies, the fakeness, and delusions of modern society, and welcome to motherfucking reality, guys. Today we have a real talk. I'm going to get right into it. I got a question the other day, which I think is relevant to most of you, especially going into the New Year's. And, everybody's got big goals and big dreams, and they want to accomplish some shit, unlike all the other years in the past where they didn't accomplish shit, and they made promises to themselves that they failed on. And I know for sure that all of you are going to accomplish what it is you've set out to do. So I wanted to give you something to think about and something to chew on. This question that I got was, Andy, what keeps you motivated whenever you aren't motivated? Like, what hack do you use to get motivated? And I want to make it real clear to you guys. Winners, champions, do not value motivation at all. I never think, do I feel like doing this? David Goggins doesn't think, do I feel like doing this? The motherfuckers that you look up to, that you want to be like, that you think like, man, dude, I wish I was that person. Those people do not think, man, do I feel like doing this? They fucking do the shit regardless. They do the things that they have to get done, no matter how they feel, no matter what's going on, no matter what it is that's distracting them. And in fact, when they're distracted, they take relief in the fact that the shit that they need to do gets done. Okay? We live in this world where we value the idea of motivation. Everywhere we look online, we look on Instagram, we look on TikTok, we look on YouTube. We are inundated with these massively cool, feel-good sound bites. And in fact, a lot of them use my fucking audio. Okay? Let's be real. But however, you have to understand that while that thing might get you somewhere in the moment, it might make you feel better about what it is you have to do, that it's actually irrelevant to the result that you produce. And so what I want you guys to really think about as this year gets kicked off is, how do I get shit done regardless of how I feel? Because that's where the champions live. The peasants live over here with motivation. If you only fucking execute when you feel like it, or the stars are aligned, or the weather's right, or you have a great relationship right now where it's been turbulent for a while, or whatever. Insert any single thing that you want to insert. If you can only execute when you feel like executing, you will fucking lose 100 times out of 100. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is to change your perspective and to understand that motivation comes and goes. It's good to feel motivated. Is it easier to execute when you're motivated? Yeah, of course it is. However, it's an unrealistic expectation to believe that we are always going to feel like doing what it is we know is required to do. Okay, so you need to flip your mindset. You need to flip your perspective to understanding that discipline is what you are after. What you are really after is the skill of discipline. You want to be able to execute. When that person asked me that question, how do I do this when I don't feel like doing it? What they are really asking me is, how do I have enough discipline to execute when I don't feel like doing it? And the reality is, you have to develop it. How do you develop discipline? By doing things that require discipline, AKA doing hard shit. Also, keeping promises to yourself. This is why the Live Hard program, 75 Hard, and everything we talk about in terms of that program works so well. Because what it does is it forces you through a regimen that is going to be very uncomfortable for a long enough period of time that you start to understand how to execute when things are not ideal. You start to understand how to execute when you don't fucking feel like it. You start to understand how to execute when it's highly inconvenient. Because the reality is, there will be times on that program where you are out at midnight getting your cardio done. There will be times on that program where you have to chug half a gallon of water at 10 o'clock at night because you forgot. And you know what you're going to learn? You're going to learn that you don't like doing that because you're going to spend the whole night up in the fucking bathroom. Okay? So there's consequences to lack of discipline, which is one of the biggest things that program teaches you. Okay? But fundamentally, you must understand that motivation is for average people. Motivation is for people that lose more than they win. Discipline is where everybody who's ever achieved anything great that you admire, that is what they value. That's what they strive for. That's the skill that they make investments in. And that's why their lives look so great that you want something like that for yourself. So, moving into this year, stop asking why I'm not motivated. Stop asking, what do I need to do to get motivated? And start asking, how can I become more disciplined? Because discipline is the ultimate superpower, guys. If you can learn to execute against the tasks that will get you to where you want to go, regardless of what's happening in your life, regardless of the pain you're feeling in the moment, regardless of what the weather is, regardless of what your relationship is, regardless of what your boss said, regardless of what your wife or your husband said, regardless of any outside circumstances, how, and I want you to really think about this, how can you ever fucking lose? You can't. So you need to look at the things that you lack when it comes to discipline, and you need to start understanding this too. Discipline is a skill. Grit is a skill. Fortitude is a skill. These are things that you can develop. And I understand as well as anybody how frustrating it is to be the person who is watching other people accomplish all of their dreams. And I don't have that power. I know what it's like to watch someone who is ripped, who's making great money, who's got their whole life seemingly in order. You go to their house is clean. You go watch them eat, they eat perfectly all the time. I understand what it's like to be on the outside of that. I understand what it's like to be 350 fucking pounds and be literally mystified as to how some people can go through life seemingly making all the right decisions that help them out with what it seems to be very little effort. And the reason that it seems to be very little effort from the outside is because these people possess the skills that you do not. And the likely reason that you do not possess these skills is because you think of them as traits. You think of them as something that people either have or don't have by the grace of God. And that is just not true when it comes to grit, discipline, fortitude, and a lot of these other things that you will learn with the 75 Hard Live Hard program. So my recommendation for you would be to start out the year on Live Hard. You go listen to it. It's episode 208. Do the program exactly as it's specified. Let me tell you something. If you do it any other way, if you do it where you substitute, if you do it where you make changes, not only will it not work, it will actually make you less competent at discipline. It will make you have less confidence. It will make you have less self-esteem. The program has to be executed perfectly for it to work, because the whole premise of the program is you keeping the promise to yourself to do hard things and then doing them and then looking back and being, fuck, dude, I can fucking do that. And whenever you can work yourself through this hard ass program, now you're in a situation to understand all the things that go into creating these skills. And by the way, the skill of discipline is perishable. The skill of grit is perishable. The skill of fortitude is perishable. Confidence is perishable. Nobody is confident all the time. Nobody has high levels of confidence all the time. Nobody has high levels of self-esteem all the time. The reason that they have high levels of confidence and the reason that they have high levels of self-esteem is because they are putting work into developing those qualities and those skills and raising them up. And the more work they do, the higher that they go. So when you're feeling like shit about yourself, the reason that you feel like shit is likely because you do nothing that you tell yourself you're going to do. And this will help you fix that. So really make this year the year that's different. Don't go through the year telling yourself all this bullshit, looking for this motivation that's never going to get done what it is you need done, okay? And start valuing building the skill set inside yourself. The reason people like motivation so much is because it makes them feel good right now for doing fucking nothing, all right? Stop being that person. Start being the person that understands what it really fucking takes to live a championship level life. Because I can promise you, as someone who is probably a little further down the road than you, it will be the best fucking thing that you ever did. And by the way, I didn't figure this shit out until I was 35, 36 years old. I'm 43 right now. Had I figured this out when I was 20, I would be motherfucking Elon Musk by now. Okay? Start now. Stop trying to just make it about feeling good now. Start realizing that if you truly want to get shit done, you do not give a fuck whether you feel like it or not. You just do it.